if you just look at Obamacare, it is absolutely unaffordable. Premiums have gone up 80% since Obamacare was passed. 150 different hospitals have closed since Obamacare was passed. We have to do things differently. And the answer is not a COVID-era program that was created in 21. We need to look at some real reforms, real changes. Even with it expiring at the end of the year, 93% of all the people on Obamacare will still have very generous subsidies. 7% will lose it, but that 7% are people who are above 400% of the federal poverty level. Right now, there's folks being subsidized making $600,000 a year.
Missouri Congressman Jason Smith warning Obamacare has become unaffordable, urging immediate reforms instead of extending temporary pandemic-era programs. Now, Congress coming back to Capitol Hill, they've got 3 working weeks left to address the expiring enhanced Obamacare subsidies. They've also got to tackle a massive year-end legislative agenda. It is a lot. Let's bring in North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. Congressman, I hope you got some rest over your break and didn't eat too much turkey, because here we go. I want to get your take on what Jason Smith told my colleague Jackie DeAngelis, in particular about the income caps. There is a report this morning in the Wall Street Journal that President Trump is looking at what the options are going to be for his new health care proposal. He's listening to his advisors, and that basically one of them is you handle the income caps in particular, and then you also maybe have a conversation about these health savings accounts. Your reaction to that?
Yeah, Cheryl, the income caps on both levels, both on the lowest level and on the highest level, need to be looked at. When you have individuals, as he pointed out, making $600,000 a year, the American taxpayer should not be subsidizing them. Now, at a 400% of the federal poverty level, there's this cliff that happens if these are not extended. And now also at the lowest level, where people were paying nothing, where we know that anywhere from 6 to 12 million individuals were fraudulently enrolled in the ACA. And that with taxpayer dollars are literally going from checks directly from the federal government to insurance companies. Also remember, Cheryl, and I'll say this 1,000 times, the ACA was written by insurance companies for insurance companies. We need to get some legislation back that actually fixes a great deal of that. I do think we need to extend these in some degree with the appropriate reforms, with a glide path to eradicating them at some point in the future.
If for some reason you don't get a bipartisan deal on health care on ACA, would you consider basically a plan without Democrats, and you would go through the reconciliation process instead? Is that a possibility?
I think everything's on the table. It's kind of short to do a reconciliation, but everything's on the table. We have to fix this problem, this debacle that the Obama administration created, and then during the Biden administration, they just put more lipstick on the pig as it kept going, pouring more and more subsidies into a failing system. We also, Cheryl, have to be very, very diligent in looking at why health care costs so much. In 2000, it was 13% of GDP. Now it's almost 1/5 of GDP. There are about 12, 15 things. And again, there are a lot of people, a lot of companies and different disciplines that are probably going to be upset. But there's a lot of savings that can be done in so many different disciplines to bring down the cost of health care, not just have taxpayers pay for an ever-increasing cost.
Well, let me ask you about this. Politico has a headline this morning: Congress waits on Trump as the December healthcare sprint begins. Does it make more sense? I realize you can walk and chew gum at the same time, but does it make more sense to wait and see what the White House comes up with as a guidepost, or does it make sense for you and your colleagues to start coming up with your own plans?
Well, I think we can be doing these things concurrently. I spoke to the White House, I think the night before Thanksgiving, had a very, very long discussion with folks over there about what should be done. I think we're narrowing down the focus, which I think is critical and important, getting smart people in the room, people who understand healthcare, people who understand their communities, together to try to put something together. Whether it's bipartisan or not, this needs to happen for America.
All right. Well, certainly it is going to be the talk of Washington, and I know that you were there this morning and ready to go, so we appreciate that, sir. I do want to ask you about another daunting issue right now, and this is the issue of Venezuela. President Trump confirmed last night that he did speak with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro. Watch.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit
No,
about
I can't do that.
Mr. President, would you say it went well?
I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call.
So the Miami Herald is reporting that the president gave Maduro this ultimatum as the U.S. weighs land operations in Venezuela. Here's what they write. The U.S. message to Maduro direct. Safe passage would be guaranteed for him, his wife, and his son only if he agrees to resign right away. Now, Venezuela, they've come out and condemned President Trump's statement that the airspace should be considered closed. But what is your reaction to all of this right now?
Yeah, he's an illegally elected dictator that has ruined the country of Venezuela. If you look at Venezuela, it was the gem of South America not 15 years ago, and now it's turned into an absolute debacle. That's a definition of socialism. I wish some of our Democratic colleagues would understand that. And you look, there is precedent for America going in and removing dictators. We did it in 1990 with Manuel Ortega in Panama. This fellow had a bounty on his head during the first Trump administration. The Biden administration increased the bounty, and now Trump, too, has increased the bounty again. This man is no good for the Western Hemisphere and needs to be removed.
Well, we do have certainly, I think it's 25% of naval ships are there now. I do want to ask you about what's happening in Tennessee, because this goes back to the balance of power. So President Trump and House Speaker Mike Johnson are reportedly going to hold a tele-rally for Tennessee congressional candidate Matt Van Epps in the final push for the special election, which is tomorrow. Democrat Afton Bain is going to rally with AOC and Al Gore today. She is still defending her past social media posts, including one where she praised people who think it's okay to burn down a police station. Then she even says she hates Nashville. That's the city she's supposed to represent. Says she hates the bachelorette parties and all the bars and restaurants and things. I mean, she might as well go after the Grand Ole Opry, Congressman. But I do want to get your reaction to this, because there is many that believe that this special election will be a window into the midterms of 2026.
Yeah, there's no doubt, Cheryl, that some of the Democrats are energized. The fact that people would vote for somebody who openly hates their country. I mean, my God, look at the Attorney General race in Virginia, where people voted for a man who said he would put a bullet in the head of somebody else. This goes beyond comprehension. Now, I hope that people will come to their senses and understand that the future of the country, future of cities, future of states are at stake, and that lending them to Marxist, socialist idealists who have no clue about the future of this or how to run the future of this country really just begs the question, please do what's right for your children and your grandchildren.
You know, Donald Trump won that district. It's the 7th in Tennessee by 20 points.
Yeah.
If, say, the Republican there does win, but it's a very, very tight margin, is that something that the Republicans should be looking at?
Yeah, you know, in midterms always, the party, the president always tends to do not as well. There's still plenty of time. I think the economy is on its way to rebound. There are a lot of different things. And then once people see the absolute disaster of the thing called Mondami experiment in New York City, I think this absolute insane flush towards the love of socialism will push democratic issues back to where they should be.
Yeah, ask the property owners of New York how they feel about this one so far, Congressman. Yeah. That's for another day. Yeah. Congressman Greg Murphy, it's great to see you. It's great to see you back on Capitol Hill, and we're looking forward to everything that transpires today. We're going to be watching it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, sir.